welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about those records that are a little bit rare and hard to find. Some harder to find than others, some more valuable than others, and some that I've had which has seemingly gone up in value since I first bought them. So let's get started. First up we have Alice Cooper, Along Came a Spider. I love this album. It's a concept album by Alice Cooper. I believe it was his first concept album, I may be mistaken. But yeah, it came on a transparent vinyl and basically had alternate artwork to the original. You can see to my left, your right, the reissue that they've just put out with 3 extra tracks, one of which is my favourite track, Salvation, in acoustic. What an amazing version that is. That is spread across 2 discs, whereas this is just along the one. Both have pros, both have cons, but this original, I think I ended up paying about £120, £130 for it, which was quite pricey, but I love this. The second side particularly is Killed by Love, I'm Hungry, The One That Got Away, Salvation, and the I Am Spider epilogue. Fantastic album, very good. Then I have a Wednesday 13. Wednesday was obviously influenced by Alice Cooper somewhat. And this is a combo album of Wednesday 13. It's a mixture of his Wednesday 13 stuff, his Bourbon Crow stuff, and his Gunfire 76 stuff. Almost like the greatest hits of projects or best bits of projects. It's very, very hard to come by. And again, this cost me about 100, I think, there or thereabouts. And I have this one signed. I have it signed. I have all my Alice, I have all my Wednesday signed. Love Wednesday 13 and all associated projects. Next we have another Wednesday 13. Dun, dun, dun. This was the alternate artwork for Monsters of the Universe, which is a concept album from Wednesday 13. I can't remember what colour vinyl this was on. Aha! There was clear orange. Oh, and look at that, an interesting green. What does that say? Everything you know is a lie. There you go. Everything you know is a lie. Again, not easy to come by and not a cheap record. I think that one was once again about 100. Finally, another Wednesday 13, and this actually features Alice Cooper on the title track, Necrophase. Love this artwork, as I've said previously, but there's something special about this version. So they've released 3 versions of it, and this one was limited to 250 copies only. It was the last copy I found of the variants. It's the last one I could find, and it's because it's actually a glow in the dark. So, like so. Next, changing mood, we have Imelda May. This is a great album by Imelda, and it is impossibly hard to get. Not completely, but you've got to pay a penny or two. You have to pay a penny or two for this. Again, I think this came in about £120, £100, something like that. I did buy it sealed, and I've since opened it to play it. But I don't keep that many sealed. It varies. I try to keep duplicates sealed, but not, I want to enjoy them myself. But Imelda May, I actually used to go and see her with my friend Vix from Fuzzbox, formerly of Fuzzbox. Now she's in BuzzFox, and she did Vix and the Kicks when I worked with her, doing videos and photography and all sorts of flyers and stuff. But we used to go and see the Candy Box at the Glee Club every Sunday in Birmingham. Not every Sunday. I think they were like monthly Sundays, once or twice a month maybe. And we used to go see it, and Imelda May was the guest singer for those shows. So I knew of Imelda May from that, before she had even released a record, to my knowledge at least. That all came later. So yeah, I've followed Imelda closely over the last 20 something years. Now, next up we have Lana Del Rey, and this one I bought for about £35 from Record Store. It's blue banisters, and it's different to the standard cover which was released. I think there's a couple of other covers. Lana tends to do a lot of variants, but I just loved that profile picture of her. I just thought it was a great profile. It's actually on a yellow vinyl. It's actually on a yellow vinyl. And I believe it is 2 disc. The other disc is the same. But I've looked on eBay and Discogs, and this seems to be going now for, I've seen it anywhere from £80 to £300, bizarrely. People try their luck, I guess, but it's definitely worth more than what I paid for it. So that's nice. Which brings me to 2 more Lana. This was her, I can never pronounce this in full. Did you know that there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard? That was her latest album. I think she released about 8 blooming variants of this record, and yes, I bought them all because I do like Lana a lot. This first one was one of the official site ones, a bit saucy, a bit sexy, still sealed, and I think I've seen this go for £80 plus on eBay. I paid about 35 for it delivered, something like that. So that's doubled. And then probably a more controversial one from her site as well. It's a limited run. I wish I'd bought a couple because this one's rocketed in price. This one's rocketed, probably for obvious reasons. She has her breast out, yes. So this one, it's about 35 quid delivered, something like that, maybe 37. And that's now, I've seen that go for 200 or 300 quid on eBay. Well, certainly listed for that. So that's a nice little investment, still sealed, may I add. Next up, I went through a patch of going to see the Manic Street Preachers. Getting into the Manic Street Preachers, I first saw them when they supported Guns N' Roses at Milton Keynes Bowl back in the 90s. And I loved a bit of Manics. And then sadly Richie James went missing. Is he still out there? Where are you hiding, Richie James? As Ginger said in 29 Times the Pain. I didn't originally like the Manic's new direction after Richie left. It went very commercial. However, I have gone back this last few years and started to listen to them and buy their back catalogue. And the more back catalogue you buy, the more obscure ones you find. And I found the National Treasures. Now, it was never released on vinyl per se. It was released on CD, which I have, and it's a great compilation basically of the singles. But it turns out, Q Magazine actually released it with selected tracks from the CD version on the vinyl. Selected tracks on the vinyl, and I can't tell you what tracks because I'm going to wreck the thing, but there was literally, I think there was about 5, 6, 7 tracks each side, so about 14 tracks across the career. It's a great album, and it comes with the classic rock, Q Magazine, sorry, it comes with the Q Magazine. I keep saying classic rock because the last thing I bought like this was Michael Monroe's classic rock, but it's the Q Magazine with the vinyl for that album. So that was rare, and that cost, I think it's about £120. Not cheap, but a great album. I have played it a few times. Which brings me to probably the second most expensive record I've bought. Yes. Once again, it is the Manic Street Preachers, Lipstick Traces. Secret History of Manic Street Preachers. And it's great. It's great. It's B-sides, basically, and covers. It's so easy live. That's amazing. Lots of live tracks, lots of B-sides, and beautiful artwork. It is furry. It is furry in touch. Furry. And it opens up into this beautiful gatefold. And I've just found inside the invoice. Wow. Well. This is interesting. So, I'll tell you what it cost originally, and then I'll tell you what I paid for it some 20 years later. I think it was, when was it released? My eyesight is probably not good enough to tell. Oh, 2003 the order was taken. So it must be 2003. So 23 years later, 24 years later I got it. And delivered, this apparently cost £28.25p. Can you see that? Can you see that? I definitely paid £28.85p, but I also paid at least another £4. Yeah, another £4. But these don't come up very often. These do not come up very often. And I'm sure people have got them slightly cheaper or paid slightly more. I usually kind of hit in the middle, but I had to have one of the last pieces I needed. I have all the Manics now, so yeah. Next up, I have one that I bought end of last year, actually, and I bought it quite by accident. What I mean is, I was in Bangkok and they sent out a notification promoting this album, saying it was available for order and it was limited, etc. But the link they sent out was incorrect. I couldn't log on, and it was late over there. So it was about midnight, 1 o'clock in Bangkok. So it was about 5, 6 o'clock in the UK when they must have sent out the notice. So I had to try, and I was just like, oh, I'll leave it. You know, half knowing what it was at this point. You know, just going, oh, the link's not working, whatever. Woke up the next morning, looked at my emails, and that was the first thing I saw from the night before. It's like, let's have a look. So I started to go into it. Then I had a brainwave and just went to their site directly, and I found it. And the first thing I saw was Guns N' Roses Live Era, 87 to 93 box set. And basically, it was a picture disc version. I saw the price, it was about $185 to lift. I'm like, ooh, that's a tidy price. And I was like, well, if that's the price, that's the price. So I purchased it. Anyway, happy with myself, and I always do this. I'll go back on and look a bit later at what I bought, and then I saw that, oh, there's another version. Because I'm sure there's another version that was splatter discs, and that was about £100 cheaper. And I was like, bugger. I was like, I can't believe I did that. And then I looked at the one I bought, and it was the picture disc version. Now, I've not seen them, because I've kept it sealed. Because what I then read was it's limited, to 500 units, and it was sold out. And I was like, wow, I was so lucky, because my number at 500 units is 494. So that sold out in the space of about 6-7 hours, 8 hours maybe, and I got 494. Makes me wonder what number I'd have got if I'd have worked it out before I went to bed. So that's why I kept it sealed, and I did buy a splatter version to listen to. Next up, we have a band that I first discovered supporting my favourite band, the Wildhearts. Oh gosh, when was this? It must have been about 2002, 3, 4, something like that. 03 rings a bell. It could have been 02. Could have been 02. But it was The Darkness, Permission to Land. And this is an original press. And it's never been opened. Though it's opening slightly, but it's still sealed. It's never been opened. And that cost, I think I got it for about £80 in the end, but it was easily going for 100 in places. Very hard to come by. Then they reissued it everywhere, so I got the reissue to listen to. But noteworthy fact, this is my friend on the cover. I didn't know at the time. I've since acted with her. She's been my scene partner in a number of films. Danielle Scott. A little tidbit information for you. And I haven't seen Danielle in a good while. I remember when she told me it was her, because we were talking about music, and she goes, oh, I was the girl on the front of the Darkness album. I'm like, what? That's amazing. So yeah, little things. So yeah, I've been in films with her, and when I see her again, I'd love her to sign one of my copies of this album, because it'd be so unique. So, yeah, and that's a close-up of her too. Yay. But as I say, The Darkness opened for my favourite band, the Wildhearts. And I have here Earth versus the Wildhearts, original press. And I've finally got it signed by Ginger, CJ and Danny. Just steady to go. So this cost me, oh gosh, I think with import charges and postage, I think it's about $250 in the end, 200, something like that. But that goes to show, it's not the price that matters, it's what it means to you, because you forget the price, not completely, but you forget, but you don't forget the record. And I had to have the record of my favourite band. I wish I collected vinyl in the 90s. It would have been a lot cheaper. It was a lot cheaper. But it was a different market back then. People were buying CDs and I was no different. On from that, we have PHUQ original press. I actually have a few copies of this. I hunted them down, all to varying degrees. This one is probably my second best copy, but my best signatures, I feel. And I have a copy that's been loved to death, and I have a copy that's a promo. It's just got a promo sticker on it. But it's the double vinyl. And say, Ginger, Danny, CJ and Rich, the classic lineup, signed it. Even though CJ parted company with them partway through this album, he plays on a handful of the tracks, to my knowledge. And yeah, I have this. So love this. And most recently, what they put out was this. It is PHUQ Deluxe. It's basically, when they released this version, they wanted to make a double album. But the record company went, no, we want one like your debut, Earth versus the Wildhearts. So it was cut down to a more commercial sounding release, and all the long songs that were meant to be on the album were released on an album called Fishing for Luckies. Yeah, they were released on Fishing for Luckies. Now, what they've done since is they took Fishing for Luckies and they took PHUQ and they put it as a double album, and it's actually a triple album now, as it was always meant to be. And this is the package, and I think there's only about 500 of them. There's not many in this form, at least. So there's a velvet box set which mimics the CD that came out back in the day. Lovely cover. Then you have the sleeve, which I have got all signed by Danny, Ginger, CJ and Rich. I'll come back to the vinyl because there's a story. Well, not a story, but I'll show you the vinyls. And then I had the book signed by Ginger, Danny, CJ and Rich. There you go. Beautiful book of images and graphics from the artist Danny Dean, who did all the artwork for PHUQ and is sadly no longer with us. So a beautiful piece. Now the vinyl, there was 3 discs. And there's a beautiful purple one. There is, let's get this right. Here we go. There's a gold and purple clear splatter one. And there's a gold one. So that is very rare, and I have, when it came out, it was a steal of a price. It was £100, brand new. But then I've seen it online for £250 plus since. You know, it's very rare, very, very rare. And that brings me to my final piece. It is a Wildhearts, and it is linked to what I've just shown you. But it is Fishing for More Luckies. This is my grail. This is my grail piece. My most expensive record. You can see, promotional only, not for resale. So what happened here was basically this, when they split PHUQ into 2 records, they were going to release Fishing for Luckies. Now originally it came out on a fan club only CD as Fishing for Luckies with that artwork, and sold really, really, really well. So then the record company, East West, wanted those songs back, so I had to buy the songs back. And they were going to release Fishing for More Luckies. And for whatever reason, I don't know the reason behind it, but it never officially came out. They'd sent it to all the record stores and DJ shops, record stores and radio stations, DJs, and it was pulled. It was not released. It was asked to be sent back in, I believe. So there's clearly a few still out in the wild, including this one, which my friend Sam Wilkins, who's a massive Wildhearts fan, he'd managed to source one after about 30 years of looking. for himself. He got a mint copy and he paid for it too. Which I'd happened to see one day on eBay. I thought it was a CD and someone trying their luck, and it was actually a copy of that record, mislisted, and he bought that one. But he found this one for me on Discogs, and I paid, I think, about $658 delivered for this, which was, can you see, it's got a small dink, but other than that, it's perfect. And it's my most expensive record, my most meaningful record, my most sought after record. Yeah, it didn't come out, but it eventually came out with new tracks added in a different mix, different artwork completely, as Fishing for Luck is, which was, it was the same album just with extra tracks and all mixed up. So yeah, and I think it's one of the most popular Wildhearts releases, the new Fishing for Luck is, which is rare in itself. That's going for 100 or 2 now. So yeah, they're my rarest records, and my most expensive ones, no doubt. Thank goodness I didn't pay full price for all of them. Well, I wish I paid full price for all of them. I paid over the odds for half of them. Or I paid collector's prices for them, but some of them I discovered and they've grown in value themselves. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that little walk back. I enjoyed it, didn't realise some of the stories actually as they came to me. I was like, oh my God, yeah. But yeah, they're my most valuable records, both personally and probably financially. Yeah, thank you. Like, subscribe, and tell me your thoughts in the comments. Cheers.